Lyra first noticed the change in her mother's light on a quiet night in the Sapphire Nebula. The stars were soft and pale outside their crystal cave. Rivers of glowing dust flowed past like slow clouds. For as long as Lyra could remember, her mother's white scales had shined brighter than all of it. She was an albino star dragon, rare and beautiful, her glow a calm beacon in the dark. But tonight, the light was dim. Lyra stood at the mouth of the cave, her own silver scales catching the starlight. She looked back at her mother, who lay curled on a bed of smooth, floating stones. The stones drifted in a gentle pattern, held up by the nebula's quiet energies. They had once reflected her mother's glow like a mirror. Now they only showed a faint shimmer. "Mother?" Lyra's voice was soft, almost afraid to break the silence. The albino dragon opened her eyes. They were still kind, still full of warmth, but there was a tiredness there that made Lyra's heart feel heavy. "Yes, little star?" her mother answered. Lyra walked closer. She could see that the pearly white scales around her mother's eyes were dull, almost gray at the edges. The glow that used to flow over her body like gentle water was flickering, as if it could fade at any moment. "Are you feeling weak again?" Lyra asked. Her mother took a slow breath. The air turned to a faint silver mist as it left her lungs, weaker than Lyra remembered from before. There had been a time when her mother's breath had painted shapes in the air, bright and strong, like a living ribbon of light. "I am only a little tired," her mother said. "Do not worry. I have seen many cycles. It is natural to slow down." Lyra's tail twitched. She did not like that answer. "But you were not like this before. You moved so fast that the comets could not catch you. You sang with the stars. You danced around lightning storms." Her mother chuckled, a soft, gentle sound. "Those days were long ago. But you are still you," Lyra said. "You are my mother. You should not fade." A small silence followed. The nebula outside whispered, dust shifting in slow spirals. The universe felt too big, too quiet. Her mother's eyes closed halfway, as if even speaking took effort. "Sometimes light fades, little star. That is how the cosmos works." Lyra looked down at her own claws. They were steady and bright, edged with silver glow. Her wings were strong. She could cross whole star fields in a single long flight. The idea that something as bright as her mother could simply dim and stay dim felt wrong in every part of her. "Have you tried resting more?" Lyra asked quickly. "I can bring more comet ice, or we can move to a softer nebula. Maybe the gases here are not good for you, or—" Her mother reached out a paw and touched Lyra's shoulder. Her touch was warm, but Lyra could feel how careful she was being, how slow. "You have already done so much," the albino dragon said. "You bring food, you sing for me, you stay by my side. I am grateful." Lyra shifted closer, pressing her head lightly against her mother's neck. The scales there were smooth and cool. She could feel the faint thrum of her mother's inner light, like a soft pulse, uneven and weak. "It is not enough," Lyra whispered. "There must be something more I can do." Her mother did not answer right away. Lyra could hear her breathing, slow and measured. At last she said, "There are healers among our kind. I visited them long ago when I first felt my light change. They could not help much. They told me it was simply the way of my body, the way of being an albino dragon, that my glow might fade early." Lyra's eyes widened. "You never told me that." "I did not want you to worry," her mother replied. "You were still small then. You needed joy, not fear." Lyra pulled back and stared at her mother, her heart pounding. But maybe they were wrong. Maybe they did not know everything. "Perhaps," her mother said softly. "But they tried, and I was tired of trying things that did not work. I wanted to spend my time with you. not chasing answers through cold space. Lyra understood what she meant, but she could not accept it. A stubborn flame lit inside her as she looked at the dim glow along her mother's spine. "What if—" Lyra hesitated, then said, "What if we do not go to a dragon healer at all?" Her mother tilted her head, curious. "What do you mean?" "What if we ask someone else for help?" Lyra asked. "Someone different. Someone who sees the world in another way." Her mother gave a low hum. "Who would that be? The star singers? The nebula spirits?" "Humans," Lyra said. The word floated in the air between them. Humans. A strange species to most dragons. Small compared to dragons, fragile-looking bodies, short lives. And yet, they had built ships that could cross the dark like spears of light. They made stations that circled stars, and they laughed in the face of empty space. Even out here, at the edge of dragon territory, Lyra sometimes saw their ships as tiny lines of fire streaking far away. Her mother's eyes narrowed slightly, not with anger, but with concern. "Humans," she repeated. "You have been listening to stories again, little star." Lyra straightened. "I have. And the stories say they fix things. All kinds of things. Not just ships. Not just machines. They fix problems no one else can fix. They think in ways we do not. They find paths we cannot see." Her mother smiled faintly. "Stories grow larger with each telling." "I know," Lyra said. "But I also know this. They do not give up easily. They keep trying until something works. They do not say, 'It is just the way things are,' and stop." Her mother looked at her for a long, quiet moment. The reflected nebula light danced in her pale eyes. "And you think a human could help me?" she asked. "I think someone might," Lyra answered. "There is a name I have heard on the star winds. Jace Elwyn, a human mechanic. Pilots say he repairs ships that others call hopeless. He makes broken things work again. They say he once rebuilt a vessel that had been in pieces, that he listens more than he talks, that he cares." "Oh." Her mother's voice was light, almost teasing. "You have collected many details, I see." Lyra's tail flicked in slight embarrassment, but she did not look away. "I listen when traders come near the nebula. They talk on open channels. They do not think dragons are listening, but we are. I heard them speak of Jace. I remembered his name. I wrote it in the dust with my claws, so I would not forget." Her mother laughed gently. The sound warmed the air. "You are very clever," she said. "I am not clever enough yet," Lyra replied. "But he might be." The albino dragon's eyes grew soft again as she watched her daughter. "If we go to him, we would need to enter human space. It is crowded there, full of rules and noise and metal. They might not like two dragons landing on their stations." "Then we find a place he works that is quiet," Lyra said at once. "A small hangar, a simple moon, somewhere away from the large stations. Humans like small workshops, I think." "You think?" her mother asked, amused. "I imagine," Lyra corrected with a shy smile. "But I am willing to find out." Her mother's smile faded into a thoughtful expression. "Why would you risk so much, Lyra? To fly into unknown space, to trust a human you have never met?" Lyra's answer came without pause. "Because you are my mother. I will go anywhere, ask anyone if it might help you. If there is even a small chance, I must try." For a moment, her mother closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were shining with something that was almost as bright as her old glow. Love. "You are braver than I ever was," the albino dragon said softly. Lyra shook her head. "No, I am only your daughter. I learned it from you." The nebula's dust streams shifted, sending a gentle breeze through the cave. Tiny fragments of glowing particles floated in, drifting around them like slow snow. They settled on her mother's scales and did not reflect as strongly as they used to, but they still made a soft, beautiful halo. Her mother sighed. What if the human cannot help? What if you go all that way and nothing changes? Lyra felt fear tug at her chest. She imagined flying through dark space, landing in a strange place, meeting a strange human, and hearing the same words the dragon healers had said. There is nothing we can do. But she lifted her head. Then at least we will know we tried every path. Then we can rest knowing we did not stop searching too soon. Her mother studied her face. You have already decided, haven't you? Lyra nodded. Yes, but I will not go if it upsets you. If you tell me no, I will stay. I will not leave you alone. A small silence followed. The albino dragon looked out at the nebula. Light glowed faintly across her face, making her appear like a ghost of the bright creature she had once been. Then she looked back at Lyra, and in her eyes there was a quiet acceptance. I do not like the thought of you flying so far, she said, but I like even less the thought of you carrying regret. Go then. Find this Jace Elwyn. If he can help, bring him word of me. If he cannot, come back to me, and we will share whatever time I have left. Lyra's heart leaped with both joy and fear. I will not be long, she promised. Her mother smiled. Space is big, little star. Take the time you need. I will wait. Lyra pressed her forehead gently against her mother's. Their glows touched. For a moment, Lyra imagined her own light flowing into her mother, filling all the dim places and making them bright again. She wished it were that simple. Rest, Lyra said. I will bring back help. She stepped away and moved toward the edge of the cave. Outside, the nebula opened into a wide field of stars, each one a tiny promise. Her wings unfolded, silver and strong. Lyra, her mother called softly. Lyra looked back. Remember, her mother said, not all humans are the same. Some may fear you, some may not understand. But if this Jace is the kind you believe he is, then trust your heart. It has guided you well so far. Lyra nodded. I will. With one last look at her mother's resting form, Lyra leapt from the cave. The nebula wind caught her wings, and she soared out into the open sky. Starlight slid over her scales. The vastness of space stretched before her, mysterious and unknown. She felt a flicker of nervousness, but she did not let it grow. Somewhere out there was a human mechanic who fixed the impossible. Somewhere out there was a chance to bring back the light. The small moon, called Orin 3, quietly circled its parent planet, glowing like a pearl in the dark. It was not a busy place. Only a few hangars, a repair dock, a simple landing field, and a stretch of soft gray sand. Traders liked it because it was calm. Pilots liked it because repairs there were honest and quick. And Jace Elwyn liked it because nobody bothered him while he worked. The human mechanic was inside his hangar when the morning lights rose across the moon's quiet surface. The doors were open, letting in the thin sunlight. His workshop smelled faintly of warm metal, clean tools, and the soft citrus oil he used to polish old ship parts. He hummed to himself as he tightened a small bolt on a transport's navigation core. Jace was not a man of big words or big gestures. His hair was always a little messy, his hands always stained with harmless grease, and his clothes forever carrying patches from old repairs. But his eyes were bright, calm, and curious. When most people saw a broken machine, they only saw a problem. When Jace saw one, he saw a puzzle waiting to be understood. He smiled as the navigation core lit up in his hands. There you go, he whispered, as though it were a living thing. You just needed someone to listen. He set the glowing core on the table and wiped his hands, unaware that something extraordinary was approaching. Outside the hangar, the air trembled gently. At first, Jace thought it was only the breeze shifting across the metal roofs. Then he felt a soft vibration under his boots. A deep, rhythmic hum, like a slow heartbeat echoing through the ground. He looked up, confused. A shadow swept across the sunlight. Then another. Jace stepped outside the hangar, shielding his eyes with one hand. Above him, the sky shimmered with something bright and silver, a shape so large and graceful that it momentarily stole all sound from the air. A dragon. A real dragon. Its wings spread wider than any ship Jace had ever repaired. Its silver scales caught the light like moving mirrors, sending shimmering reflections across the ground. As it descended, its landing stirred soft clouds of moon dust around its feet. For a moment, Jace simply stared, breath caught somewhere between awe and disbelief. Dragons were known, of course. They traveled distant sectors and kept mostly to their own kind. But to see one here, on this quiet moon, only a few meters from his workshop, it felt unreal. Yet as stunning as she was, his eyes widened further when he saw the second shape on her back. Another dragon. This one was smaller, lying weakly against the silver dragon's shoulders. Her scales were white, so pale they almost looked like frost under soft morning light. She glowed faintly, like a lantern burning low. The silver dragon landed with careful steps, making sure not to jostle the dragon she carried. She lowered herself gently. The albino dragon slid slowly down onto the moon's surface, her body trembling with exhaustion. Jace felt something shift inside him. Surprise changed to concern. The sight of the second dragon's dim glow made his heart tighten, not with fear, but with sympathy. The silver dragon turned her head toward him. Her eyes were bright and steady. A touch of nervousness flickered behind them, but she stood tall, wings folded close to her body. "Are you Jace Elwyn?" she asked. Her voice echoed softly in the thin atmosphere, clear, gentle, and musical. Jace blinked. He had heard stories about how dragons spoke, but hearing it directly was something entirely different. He swallowed, nodded once, and answered, "Yes, I'm Jace." The silver dragon seemed to relax slightly. "I am Lyra," she said, "and this is my mother." Jace looked at the albino dragon again. Her eyes were open, warm but tired. Her glow flickered softly like a candle fighting against a breeze. Lyra spoke again, her voice steady but filled with worry. "She is unwell. Her light has been fading for many cycles. The healers of our kind cannot help her anymore. So, I came to find someone who sees things differently. Someone who does not give up." Jace felt his heart beat hard against his ribs. No one had ever said words like that to him before. He was just a mechanic, one who worked on small ships and tiny engines, nothing grand or legendary. But the sincerity in Lyra's voice, her hope, made it impossible to think of himself as just anything. He took a small step forward. "I don't have magic," he said softly, "and I've never worked on, well, someone like your mother." "I know," Lyra said, "but you listen. That is what I have learned about humans. You listen to what is wrong before you try to fix anything." Jace looked between Lyra and her mother. He could see the faint trembling in the albino dragon's wings, the uneven shimmer of her glow, the way her breath came in thin, misty sighs. Without thinking too much, he walked up to her slowly, careful not to startle her. The albino dragon lifted her head slightly as he approached. Her eyes, pale and soft, followed him with curiosity rather than fear. Jace spoke in a gentle voice. "May I come closer?" The mother dragon nodded faintly. "You may," she said. Her tone was quiet, almost musical. Lyra stood protectively beside her, but she didn't stop Jace. Instead, she watched him with a mixture of hope and nervousness. Jace knelt down a few feet away, close enough to see the fine details of the dragon's scales. They were beautiful, each one smooth with tiny lines of natural luminescence tracing patterns along the edges. But many of those lines were dim. Some were completely dark. He didn't touch her yet. He simply observed, the way he always did with anything fragile or important. "Can you tell me when this started?" he asked softly. The albino dragon's voice was gentle. "My light began fading long ago. It has grown worse in recent cycles. I tire easily. My wings feel heavy. My breath is dim." Lyra added, her voice tight. "And sometimes she shakes. Only a little, but it scares me. She was never like this before." Jace nodded slowly. He didn't want to rush. Sometimes the first answer wasn't clear. Sometimes you had to gather pieces before the whole picture appeared. "Have you flown through any strange regions?" Jace asked. "Any areas with unusual star radiation? Maybe a field of dust clouds or old energy streams?" Lyra and her mother exchanged a small look. The mother dragon answered, "We traveled through a shifting radiation belt some cycles ago. I thought it was safe. It has always been safe before. But the belt changed recently." Jace's brows gently knit together. Radiation. That sounded important. He stood up slowly and walked back toward his hangar. Lyra tensed for a moment, unsure if he was leaving, but Jace quickly waved a hand. "I'm not going anywhere," he said with a small smile. "I'm just getting something." Lyra relaxed, though her tail still twitched anxiously. Inside the hangar, Jace opened a drawer filled with small tools and smooth, harmless scanners. He chose a soft-lit analysis band, a device meant to read energy fluctuations without touching skin or scales. It was originally designed for delicate ship panels, but it worked just as well for organic glow patterns. He returned to the dragons. "This won't hurt," he said. "I'll keep a bit of distance." The mother dragon nodded in agreement. Jace lifted the analysis band. A soft blue light hovered, scanning the air around her. Jace watched the readings carefully. The device wasn't perfect, but it gave enough information to see patterns. He frowned thoughtfully. "Your energy glow is unstable," he said softly. "Not completely fading, just unbalanced. Parts of it are strong, other parts are struggling." Lyra stepped closer. "Can it be fixed?" Jace didn't rush his answer. He kept reading the data, watching how the glow shifted like a gentle tide. "Yes," he said slowly. "I think it can." Lyra's eyes brightened instantly. "How?" "Well," Jace scratched the side of his head. "Give me a moment. I want to try something." He walked a slow circle around the albino dragon, studying the patterns of her dim glow. Lyra watched with her breath held, her tail curled around her feet. A gesture of nervous hope. After several minutes, Jace stepped back. "I think the radiation you flew through didn't harm you directly," he said to the mother dragon, "but it interfered with how your natural glow moves through your body, like a river getting blocked in certain places." The mother dragon nodded thoughtfully. "I have felt something like that. My glow does not flow as it used to. It sticks." Jace smiled gently. "Exactly. And if the glow can't flow, then parts of your wings and breath energy feel heavy or weak." Lyra leaned closer. "Can you fix the flow?" Jace exhaled slowly, thinking. "Not alone, but with something simple. Yes." He pointed back toward the hangar. "I can build an exosupport for her wings, something very light, nothing that presses or hurts. Just enough to help her wings open and close smoothly while her energy recovers." "And the glow?" Lyra asked. "I can make a small stabilizer," Jace replied. "A pendant that rests gently against the chest. It'll help guide the glow back into balance, not by forcing it, just by reminding it how to move." Lyra stared at him with wide eyes. Then she turned to her mother. "See?" she whispered. "I told you humans find paths we cannot see." The albino dragon smiled faintly, her glow flickering softly. "I see that now." Jace rubbed the back of his neck. "I'll need a little time." Maybe a day or two. Lyra shook her head. Take all the time you need. We can wait here. Jace nodded. I'll start right away. As he walked back into the hangar, he felt something warm growing in his chest. He wasn't fixing a ship. He wasn't repairing a machine. He was helping someone gentle, someone fading, someone who mattered deeply to her daughter. And for the first time in a long while, Jace felt like what he did truly meant something. Behind him, Lyra curled protectively beside her mother on the soft moon dust. Their glows shimmered faintly under the morning light. And for the first time since leaving the nebula, Lyra felt hope growing brighter than fear. The next morning on Orin 3 began with soft sunlight spreading across the quiet moon. Thin beams of golden light slid across the sand and gently warmed the metal walls of Jace Elwyn's hangar. Inside, the mechanic was already hard at work, his hands moving with careful purpose. He had slept very little, only a few hours, but not because of worry. It was excitement, a hopeful kind of excitement. Rarely did he get the chance to help someone so extraordinary, and even more rarely did someone trust him the way Lyra did. By the time the moon's sun climbed fully into the sky, Jace's workspace was glowing with the gentle light of tools, small holograms, and delicate metal parts laid neatly on the tables. He adjusted a tiny piece of silver alloy under a magnifying lens. It was shaped like a curved wing bone, smooth and thin. Almost there, he whispered to himself. Outside the hangar, Lyra watched the sunrise with quiet eyes. She had stayed awake most of the night, resting beside her mother in a protective arc. Each time her mother's breathing grew uneven, Lyra had gently nuzzled her until it steadied again. The moon dust beneath them glowed faintly from their scales, creating a soft white halo that spread across the ground. The albino dragon, though resting, had grown weaker. Her glow flickered more often than before. Her breaths were softer. Still, she tried to keep her voice warm whenever she spoke to Lyra. "Do not look so worried," her mother murmured. "I will be fine." "You always say that," Lyra replied gently, "but I can see the truth." Her mother smiled faintly. "You have always seen more than most." Before Lyra could respond, the hangar doors slid open with a quiet hum. Jace stepped out. Lyra stood at once, her wings lifting slightly in surprise. She noticed immediately that Jace held something in his hands, a large curved frame made of soft, shining alloy. It was delicate, shaped with smooth bends and no sharp edges. It shimmered faintly in the light, almost like a silver ribbon. Jace stopped a few steps away from the dragons, giving them space and respecting their comfort. "I've finished the first part," he said. "It's the wing exo-aeroframe. It's very light. I tested the balance. It should move with her wings instead of fighting them." Lyra looked at the device with deep gratitude. "You worked fast." Jace smiled shyly. "I work faster when something really matters." The albino dragon raised her head slightly. Her voice was soft but clear. "May I see it?" "Of course," Jace said, taking another slow step closer. He lifted the frame gently so she could view it properly. The dragon's pale eyes studied the curved metal. "It is beautiful," she said, "and it looks kind." Jace let out a small laugh. "I'm glad. I didn't want it to feel like a burden." Lyra moved closer as well. "How does it work?" "It doesn't replace anything," Jace explained. "It only supports. Think of it like an extra set of soft bones that help carry the weight your wings can't. Once your natural glow strengthens again, you won't need it anymore. Until then, this will keep your wings safe and steady." The albino dragon blinked slowly, touched by the thoughtfulness behind his design. "You put much care into this," she murmured. Jace lowered his head slightly in a modest bow. "It was important." Lyra looked at him with quiet admiration. She had believed in him before, but now she saw with her own eyes how humans worked, with patience, creativity, and a level of heart she had not seen in many worlds. "Can you help me put it on her?" Jace asked gently. Lyra nodded immediately. "Tell me what to do." Jace approached the albino dragon slowly, careful not to rush or startle her. He placed the frame beside her and explained each movement before he made it. "This part will rest along the top of your wing," he said. "It won't press. It only sits lightly." The albino dragon extended her wing with effort, and Jace supported it with both hands. Her scales felt smooth and cool under his fingers. He handled her wing as if it were made of soft glass, gentle and respectful. Lyra watched closely, ready to assist. She used her own wing to keep her mother steady, her eyes full of protective warmth. "Now this piece will go underneath," Jace explained. "It curves around like a cradle." He worked carefully, guiding the metal into place. The frame adjusted perfectly to the dragon's shape, as though it had always belonged there. When both sides connected with a soft click, a faint glow ran through the alloy, responding to the dragon's energy, syncing with her movements. The albino dragon inhaled softly, not in pain, just surprise. "It feels lighter," she whispered. Jace stepped back, watching her closely. "Try moving your wing slowly." She lifted it with gentle effort. For the first time in many cycles, the motion did not tremble. The wing rose smoothly, almost naturally. Lyra gasped. "Mother, it's working!" Her mother flexed her wing again, this time a little wider. The flow of movement looked steadier, more stable. She lowered it without strain. A soft smile touched her pale lips. "I had forgotten how this felt." Jace relaxed slightly, relief warming his face. "Good. That means the frame is matching your energy well. It should get easier as time goes on." Lyra gently brushed her wing against her mother's. "You look stronger already." Her mother touched her daughter's head with gentle affection. "Only because of him." Jace rubbed the back of his neck, cheeks slightly warm. "This is only the first step," he said. "The glow stabilizer will help even more. I need a few more hours to finish that." "What do you need?" Lyra asked immediately. "I can help." Jace gestured for her to follow him into the hangar. "Come with me. I'll show you." Inside, Lyra walked slowly, careful not to knock over any tools with her tail or wings. She looked around with fascination. The hangar was full of objects she did not recognize, devices with blinking lights, wires coiled neatly like vines, and screens showing shining symbols. Everything felt alive in its own quiet way. "You have many small machines," Lyra murmured. "They look like little spirits sleeping." Jace laughed. "I guess they do look like that." He walked to a long table where the half-finished energy pendant rested. It was shaped like a soft teardrop, smooth and silver. At its center was a small crystal that glowed softly. Lyra leaned closer. "It's beautiful, but how does it help?" Jace tapped the crystal gently. "This reads energy patterns, not to change them, just to guide them. Your mother's glow has forgotten how to move freely. This crystal will help remind it." "How?" Lyra asked. "By matching the rhythm of her natural energy," Jace explained. "Like when two singers match their voices. The stronger voice helps the weaker one find balance." Lyra's eyes softened. "Humans really do think differently." Jace shrugged gently. "We just try many things until something works." Lyra watched him begin to assemble the final pieces. His hands moved with practiced ease, each motion full of quiet focus. He measured, adjusted, polished, and connected wires finer than threads. "May I help?" Lyra asked suddenly. Jace blinked in surprise. "You want to help me build it?" "Yes," she said. "This is for my mother. I want to be part of it." Jace looked at her for a moment, then nodded warmly. "Of course." He handed her a small metal plate. "Can you hold this steady?" Just there. Lyra carefully pinned it down with one claw, making sure not to scratch it. Her claws were sharp, but her control was delicate. Jace smiled. Perfect. He added another piece, and Lyra held wires in place. Together, Humyn and dragon worked side by side, creating something neither could have made alone. After some time, Lyra asked quietly, "Jace, why do you help us so much? You do not even know us." Jace paused for a moment, then answered simply, "Because you asked for help, and because I could see how much you care. When someone loves that deeply, it's impossible not to try." Lyra felt something warm fill her chest. Gratitude, respect. Maybe something even deeper, a realization that kindness could cross any distance, even between species. "You have a good heart," she said softly. Jace gave a gentle smile. "I'm just doing what feels right." Hours passed. The pendant slowly took its final shape, smooth, glowing, and warm to the touch. At last, Jace lifted it from the table. "It's ready." Lyra stared at it with shining eyes. "Let's bring it to her." Back outside, the albino dragon rested with her wings folded gently in the new frame. When she saw them approach, her faint glow brightened with curiosity. Jace stepped forward and held the pendant in both hands. "This is the stabilizer. It won't force anything. It will only guide your glow." The albino dragon lowered her head gracefully. "Place it on me." Jace moved carefully, setting the pendant just below her throat where her natural glow was weakest. The moment it touched her scales, the crystal pulsed softly, matching her breath, syncing with her rhythm. A warm, gentle light flowed through her chest, then down her wings, then across her entire body. Lyra gasped softly. Her mother's dim glow steadied. It grew, not bright, not overwhelming, but steady, calm, balanced. Her mother inhaled deeply for the first time in many cycles. "It feels peaceful," she whispered, "like my glow remembers itself." Lyra's eyes brimmed with emotion. "Mother, you look better." Jace smiled quietly. "This is just the beginning." The albino dragon looked at him with deep gratitude. "Thank you, Jace Elwyn. You have given me hope again." Jace shook his head gently. "No, your daughter did. I only followed her courage." Lyra lowered her head with quiet humility, but her eyes shined brighter than any starlight. For the first time since they left the nebula, she allowed herself to believe, truly believe, that her mother would be all right. Soft morning light touched the surface of Orin 3, bathing the quiet moon in warm gold. A peaceful stillness hung in the air, like the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Lyra stood beside her mother, watching her carefully. It had been only a few hours since Jace placed the stabilizer pendant on the albino dragon's chest, but already something felt different in the air. Her mother's glow, once faint like a dying ember, now flickered gently, as though waking from a long sleep. Lyra did not move. She hardly breathed. She didn't want to disturb anything that might be healing. Jace, standing a short distance away, watched as well. He held a small data pad in one hand, but he wasn't reading it. He was observing just like Lyra, quietly, respectfully, and with hope. The albino dragon opened her eyes slowly. Lyra leaned forward at once. "Mother, are you awake?" Her mother blinked once, twice, then lifted her head with a smooth, controlled motion, so smooth that even Jace widened his eyes a little. "Yes, little star," the albino dragon said softly. "I am awake." Her voice had changed. It sounded clearer, warmer, no longer weighed down by heavy breaths and fading energy. The glow along her neck and spine pulsed gently, steady and confident, like a river flowing in its rightful path. Lyra's eyes glimmered with tears she didn't let fall. "How do you feel?" Her mother looked down at her own body, watching the soft waves of light that moved naturally once again. "Lighter," she said, "as though a weight has been lifted from inside me. My chest. It no longer feels tight. And my wings." She extended one wing slowly. Lyra gasped. For the first time in many cycles, the wing didn't tremble. The exo-aero frame supported it gracefully, letting it lift high, open fully, and settle back down without strain. The albino dragon stretched her other wing, spreading it widely, letting the moon's sunlight rest on her pale scales. The light reflected with a beautiful, soft shimmer. Jace felt something warm and full bloom in his heart. Lyra could not help herself. She pressed her head gently against her mother's neck, her voice trembling with joy. "I'm so happy. You look like yourself again." Her mother leaned into the touch, her breath warm and calm. "It has been a long time," she murmured. "I had forgotten how it felt to move without fear of falling." Jace stepped forward slightly, making sure his presence did not surprise them. "The stabilizer seems to have synced perfectly," he said. "Your glow is following its natural rhythm again." The mother dragon turned her gaze to him, her eyes shining gently. "You have done more for me than anyone has in many cycles." Jace smiled shyly. "You and Lyra helped too. If you hadn't been so patient and gentle, the pendant would not have matched your energy so easily." Lyra looked at Jace with deep gratitude. "You don't give yourself enough credit." Jace rubbed the back of his neck. "Maybe. But healing takes more than tools. It takes trust. You gave me that." The albino dragon's glow brightened softly as she lowered her head toward Jace. "It takes kindness as well, and you have that in abundance." Jace felt his cheeks warm at the praise. "I'm glad I could help." As the sun climbed slowly, warmth settled into the moon's gentle surface. Lyra and her mother moved to a wide, flat area near the hangar to test how well the mother dragon could walk with the new energy balance. Jace walked beside them, checking details on his datapad, but always keeping his attention on her movement. "Take your time," he said softly. "Slow steps, no rush." The albino dragon nodded and took her first step. Her foot sank lightly into the soft moon dust. Her muscles moved easily beneath her white scales. Her glow pulsed comfortably in rhythm with each breath. Another step, then another. She paused, surprised. "I do not feel the heaviness," she said quietly. "That's a good sign," Jace said. "It means the flow of energy reached your legs too." Lyra watched her with glowing eyes. "Try a circle," she encouraged gently. Her mother walked in a slow arc, her tail swaying slightly. She lifted her wings a little for balance, and the frame supported them perfectly. After a full circle, the albino dragon returned to Lyra's side and lowered herself to sit. "I feel almost like I once did," she whispered. "Almost?" Lyra asked. Her mother smiled faintly. "My strength is not fully back, but I can feel it returning." Jace nodded in agreement. "You'll need rest and gentle movement. Your body is healing, but it's still recovering from a long period of imbalance." Lyra touched her mother's wing with a soft brush of her own. "We will rest as long as needed." Jace hesitated for a moment, then said, "Would you like to try a short energy breath?" Lyra's eyes widened. Her mother looked thoughtful. "Just a small one," Jace added. "Nothing too strong. I only want to see if your glow stabilizes during a natural energy release." The albino dragon breathed in slowly. Light shimmered over her scales. She exhaled gently. A soft mist of silver light flowed out, smooth, steady, and glowing like the first rays of dawn. Lyra watched in awe. It was not strong like before, but it was beautiful, far more stable than it had been for a long time. Her mother smiled. I had feared I would never breathe light again. Jace lowered his data pad, his voice warm. You will breathe much more light soon. This is just the beginning. After the small test, the dragons returned to the shade near the hangar. Jace set out a few cushions he usually used for visitors. Though small compared to a dragon, they made the area look welcoming and warm. Lyra curled beside her mother, gently touching her tail. The albino dragon rested her head on her paws, glowing softly. Jace sat a short distance away, not wanting to intrude, but also wanting to be present if they needed anything. For a long time, none of them spoke. Silence felt peaceful. At last, Lyra broke it gently. Jace, earlier you said this was only the beginning. What do you mean? Jace leaned back on his hands, looking up at the soft sky. Your mother's glow was blocked for a long time. The stabilizer helped organize it. The exoframe supports her wings, but full recovery takes more time. It will come slowly, like rebuilding a gentle river. Will she be able to fly again? Lyra asked softly. Jace looked at the albino dragon's wings, then at her glowing eyes. Yes, he said with calm certainty. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day soon. Yes. Lyra let out a long, trembling breath of relief. Her mother smiled faintly. You speak with confidence, Jace. I've seen many things heal, he replied. Machines, engines, people, and now dragons. Healing is slower than breaking, but it's possible. The albino dragon closed her eyes, enjoying the warm sunlight on her scales. Your words are comforting. Jace shrugged gently. They're true. For a while, they simply sat together under the warm sky. The quiet moments felt special, full of shared hope and the simple comfort of being near one another. Later, Lyra noticed something interesting. Mother, your glow is brighter in the sunlight. Her mother opened her eyes and looked down at her scales. It is. Jace nodded. That makes sense. Your glow is a kind of natural energy. Sunlight probably helps your body gather strength. Lyra hummed thoughtfully. Then we should stay outside during the day. It will help her recover faster. Jace smiled. You're already thinking like a healer. Lyra laughed softly. Maybe I've been learning from you. Jace felt an unexpected warmth in his chest. He didn't usually think of himself as a teacher, but hearing those words felt meaningful. The albino dragon looked toward the open sky and spoke gently. I never imagined humans would be so kind. Our stories always said humans were loud, fast, and constantly rushing. But you are calm, patient, gentle. Jace chuckled. Humans come in many types. Some rush, some break things, some fix things, and some just try their best. Lyra gazed at him with steady eyes. You're the kind that makes things whole again. Jace looked away with a small, embarrassed laugh. I don't know about that. The albino dragon whispered. I do. For a moment, Jace didn't know what to say, but he didn't need to. A gentle glow flowed from the pendant. The albino dragon breathed steadily, peacefully, her body shining softly under the sun. Lyra rested her head against her mother, finally allowing herself to relax. And Jace felt a quiet joy settle in his heart, a sense that this moment, small and simple as it seemed, was something precious. As the sun slowly began to set, painting the sky with soft pink and gold, the albino dragon lifted her head once more. Lyra, she said gently, do you know what I feel? Lyra looked at her with concern. What? Strength, her mother said. Not much yet, but enough to try something small. Jace sat up quickly. What do you want to try? The albino dragon smiled softly. I want to stand with both wings open, fully open, just once. Lyra nodded eagerly. I'll help. She stood beside her mother as the albino dragon rose gracefully. Her legs were steady. Her glow, though gentle, was sure. She spread her wings. The exoframe shimmered softly, supporting her movements perfectly. Light flowed across her scales in a slow wave, brightening with each inch her wings extended. She lifted them higher and higher, until they were open in a full, beautiful arc. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. Jace felt his eyes widen with quiet awe. The albino dragon stood tall, glowing softly against the evening sky, like a living piece of the sunset itself. Her voice was filled with emotion. I had forgotten how the sky feels on my wings. Lyra pressed her forehead to her mother's shoulder. You're coming back, Mother. I can see it. Yes, her mother whispered. I feel it too. And Jace, standing quietly beside them, knew that this gentle awakening was only the beginning of something even brighter. The soft evening light slowly faded from the sky of Orin 3, leaving behind a quiet silver glow that shimmered across the moon's surface. A gentle breeze carried the cool night air, brushing over the sand, over the hangar walls, and over the resting forms of Lyra and her mother. The albino dragon lay peacefully with her wings folded neatly at her sides. Her glow, once fragile, flickering and weak, now flowed steadily across her scales like a calm river. It was gentle, not bright yet, but strong in a quiet way. The stabilizer pendant at her chest pulsed in a soft rhythm, matching the even rise and fall of her breath. Nearby, Lyra sat with her tail curled under her. She kept glancing at her mother, unable to stop smiling. Each time the albino dragon moved her wing or shifted her posture without strain, a soft joy bloomed in Lyra's heart. Jace stood a little distance away, wiping down his tools one by one, though half his attention stayed on the two dragons. He wasn't working anymore. Not really. He was simply keeping his hands busy while watching something beautiful unfold. As the sky darkened, Lyra finally spoke, her voice gentle but full of emotion. Mother, how do you feel? The albino dragon opened her eyes slowly. They glowed softly in the moonlight. I feel peaceful, she said. More than I have felt in a long time. Lyra's wings trembled with relief. I was afraid before we came here. I thought I might lose you. Her mother nuzzled her gently. You never lost me. My light dimmed, but my love never did. And now, thanks to you and Jace, my light is waking again. Lyra looked at Jace with warm, shining eyes. You helped her find it. Jace raised both hands modestly. You both did the hard part. I only built a few tools. The albino dragon laughed softly, a warm, melodic sound that drifted through the night air like a gentle song. You act as though anyone could have done what you did. Jace shrugged shyly. I just tried until something worked. And that, the albino dragon said kindly, is a rare gift. Later, when the stars filled the sky like diamonds scattered across velvet, Lyra stood and stretched her wings. Mother, she said softly, do you feel strong enough to try something small? Her mother tilted her head, curious. What do you wish to try? Not flying, Lyra said quickly. Not yet. Just... She gestured toward the open space behind the hangar. A walk under the stars. The night will be gentle, and I want you to feel the world again, the sky, the ground, everything. The albino dragon looked thoughtful. Then she smiled. Yes, she whispered. Let us walk. Jace stepped forward at once. I'll come with you. Only if you want me to, of course. Lyra's eyes brightened. We would be happy if you came. The albino dragon dipped her head in agreement. Your presence is calming. Jace Elwyn. Jace felt a quiet warmth spread inside him. No one had ever said something like that to him, not in such a gentle, sincere way. So the three of them, Humyn and dragons, began a slow walk across the moon's soft terrain. The ground sparkled faintly under the starlight, the sand catching tiny reflections from their glows. Each step the albino dragon took stirred little clouds of shimmering dust, but her movement stayed steady and sure. Jace walked near her front left side, while Lyra walked near her right. It felt like a peaceful procession across a quiet world, guided only by the gentle hum of the night. After a few minutes, the albino dragon breathed in deeply. "The air feels clean," she said. "Gentle. My lungs do not feel pressured anymore." Lyra nodded eagerly. "Your breath sounds smooth. I can hear it clearly." Jace checked the stabilizer pendant with a soft scan. "Your energy flow is holding perfectly," he said happily. "Your body is accepting the new balance." The albino dragon turned her head toward him. "Your tools speak in soft tones. They do not frighten me." Jace chuckled. "They shouldn't. I try to keep everything gentle." Lyra suddenly laughed, a bright, happy sound that echoed softly across the quiet moon. "That is because you are gentle." Jace blinked a few times, caught off guard. "I guess I try to be." "You succeed," Lyra said simply. Her mother added, "You have given us a kindness we will never forget." Jace rubbed his arm nervously, unsure how to respond. He had fixed many things in his life: engines, ship hulls, tiny communication devices. But this, helping someone heal, giving a mother and daughter hope again, felt different, bigger, beautiful in a way that touched him deeply. When they finished their slow walk, the albino dragon stopped and looked toward the sky. "The stars feel closer tonight," she whispered. Lyra pressed her wing lightly against her mother's. "Perhaps your glow is reaching out to them again." The albino dragon looked down at the pendant resting on her chest, glowing softly like a warm heart. "This little device carries great compassion." Jace smiled shyly. "It only works because your energy accepted it. It followed you. It didn't lead you." The albino dragon gazed at him with grateful eyes. "Even so, a kind hand set it in place." Jace felt something soft and full inside his chest. He bowed his head respectfully. Later, the three returned near the hangar. Lyra and her mother settled on the smooth ground. Jace sat nearby, leaning against the cool metal wall of his workshop. Silence settled again. A comforting kind of silence that didn't need to be filled with words. After some time, the albino dragon spoke softly. "Lyra, Jace, may I share something?" Lyra looked up immediately. "Of course." Jace nodded gently. "Anything you want." The albino dragon lifted her head slowly. Her glow shimmered in the soft night. "I have lived many cycles. I have flown through storms, sung with stars, and danced with comets. I believed I had seen all the wonders the universe could offer." She paused, her eyes warm as they moved between her daughter and the human mechanic. "But today, I found a new wonder." Lyra's ears perked. "What wonder?" The albino dragon smiled, soft, bright, full of emotion. "Kindness," she whispered. "A kindness that crossed worlds. A kindness that changed my fate." Jace felt his breath catch. Lyra's eyes grew watery with gentle tears. "You saved more than my glow, Jace Elwyn," the albino dragon continued. "You saved the bond between mother and daughter. You allowed us to hope again." Jace swallowed softly. "I only did what anyone should do." Lyra shook her head slowly. "Not everyone would. Some would turn away, some would be afraid, some would not care." Her voice softened. "But you cared." Her mother nodded. "And because of that, our story is different now." Jace lowered his gaze, overwhelmed in a quiet, beautiful way. No one had ever thanked him like this. Not with such sincerity, not with such heart. A gentle breeze brushed across them. The moon's soft light made the sand sparkle like a field of tiny stars. Lyra spoke suddenly, her voice full of warm excitement. "Mother, when you are strong again, do you know what I want?" The albino dragon smiled. "What, little star?" "I want to take you flying," Lyra said. "Not far. Just enough to feel the wind. Enough to feel free again." Her mother's eyes shined. "I would like that very much." Jace added softly, "And I want to see it. I want to see you both take the sky together." Lyra turned to him with a gentle smile. "You will, we promise." The albino dragon lowered her head until it rested near Jace. Her voice was warm and full. "If you ever need us, if you ever call, we will come. Dragons do not forget kindness." Jace stared at her, quietly moved. "And I won't forget you." Lyra leaned closer. "You are part of our story now, a part we will carry forever." Jace nodded slowly. "That means more than you know." As the night grew deeper, the stars sparkled brighter. Lyra and her mother curled together, their soft glows blending like two gentle moons touching. Jace watched them with peaceful eyes. He didn't want to disturb the moment. He didn't want it to end. But eventually, he stood and began to quietly tidy his tools. Before he could enter the hangar, Lyra called softly, "Jace?" He turned. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Her mother added gently, "You have a place in our hearts." Jace gave a small, heartfelt smile. "And you have a place in mine." The story did not end with grand celebrations or loud displays. It ended quietly, softly, beautifully. A moon, a mechanic, a daughter and her mother, 3 lives that met by chance and changed each other forever. As Lyra and her mother drifted peacefully into rest, their combined glow lit the night like a warm beacon. And Jace Elwyn, standing at the hangar door, whispered to himself with a smile, "Humanity's greatest strength is heart."